Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Here, put this hat on. Take a picture with me.
Here it is, Eddie Bravo, Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Holy shit.
Yes. Holy shit. That's just a couple weeks away.
That's going to
Are
be
you
rad.
kidding me?
Are you going to be there for that, Eddie?
Hell yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah. It's going to be fucking nuts, man.
Dude.
We're
you
doing.
kidding me?
Tony is.
That's an exciting fight.
Man.
I know we can't talk about strategy.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy fight between the #1 and the #2 contender in that division.
Well, the obvious strategy for Khabib is to try to take Tony down, and the obvious strategy for Tony is to keep it up and dot him up on his feet.
Yeah,
that's the obvious strategy.
Catch him in
That's everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How much do you think like opinion changed when he got clipped by Michael Johnson and got wobbled?
People are saying, and I mean, if you're looking at, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Okay,
he's human.
Yes.
That's really what you saw.
Yeah.
Finally saw as human.
Exactly.
Because for 24 fights, he's just been maul, or 23 fights before that, right? Mauling motherfuckers.
It basically says that he does. He's not one of those guys that can take anything.
Right.
You know, there's guys out there that can take any shot.
Yeah.
They haven't been rocked yet.
Right.
We're seeing maybe a little chink, a little tiny chink. Everybody's looking at that. You know what I mean? It's going to give people confidence, but he's so good at taking people down and mauling them. You know, that is the hardest thing to stop.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're doing everything we can to prepare for the best, the worst case scenario, the best scenario. We're doing, I mean, Tony's doing everything, really. Tony's he's a maniac, man.
It's the most fascinating fight in the division for me outside of Conor McGregor versus Khabib. Yeah. Those two fights, Conor McGregor versus Khabib and Tony Ferguson versus Khabib, those are the two most exciting fights in that division, in my opinion.
Without giving anything away, everybody knows based on the past that Tony can seriously choke anybody out.
Yeah.
Like any wrong move on the ground, and he could hit that Darce from any position, and it just keeps growing.
Transition
it's so growing
well.
and expanding, and he's become so unorthodox on his feet, on the ground. He's pulling guard, flying Imanaris. He's all over the place. He's doing gymnastics. He's doing flips. He's doing. He's doing everything now,
ball?
Dude. He does everything.
Ball thing?
I don't even really know. I try to do it in Big Bear. I'm like,
he does.
I'm not into
he takes
that.
a bowling ball, like a steel bowling ball, and he does all this crazy, like almost like dance moves with it. It looks cool.
He brought a Wing Chun dummy up to Big Bear. He's into Wing Chun. He's into everything, everything, man. He is a true South, and that wasn't like a joke. That Wing Chun. He's really into it. He trains. Like no one I've ever seen before, just hours and hours just out in the front. Up in Big Bear, he built everything, the bags, the stands, everything. He builds everything.
Does he have a house out there?
He's the ultimate MacGyver. No, he rented it and built it the first 2 days. He brought it all out. Dude, he's like the ultimate MacGyver construction carpenter.
He can build anything.
Sarah McMahon with the takedown right away.
She just seems so fucking strong. Damn.
Dude, when I put my hands on her, you know, like when I put my hand when I interview her, her back is like Gleason T-bows.
Yeah.
She's a gorilla.
Yeah, look at
She's
this.
stupid strong.
Strong woman.
Stupid strong.
Olympic silver medalist, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's Tony working with that weighted ball.
Yeah.
It's just what a weird way of working out. Like he does all these strange moves with it. Like, did you ever ask him like what his philosophy is behind
his philosophy is obviously he believes in movement training, you know, because this is all just like some crazy capoeira, but with a steel ball. He's doing this all day.
Yeah,
he does.
All just weird.
He always just mixes it up.
Always
and then,
doing something.
Yeah, he's always doing something.
Oh,
like
for people
when
trying to sync this up at home, it's round one. I'm sorry I didn't do this for the first fight. Round one, 353, 352, 351, 350.
That's a
arm triangle, tap.
Nice.
That's a rap ski right there.
Sarah McMahon.
She just punked that girl bad.
Just gorilla squished her.
Yeah.
You know what?
She's helping her out.
She may be the first girl that's known for taking people down, passing their guard and choking them out. Like that's their go-to. You got to stop that.
Fucking.
What is she saying
to her? What other girl does that?
I don't know what the hell she's saying to her.
She's fucking scary though.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other girl does that? Takes them down, passes their guard, and chokes them.
Fucking chokes the shit out of them.
That could be your shit right there.
Well, you know, she got tagged by Amanda Nunes and choked out herself. like her stand-up, she has power in her punches. She's a big power puncher, but she doesn't have the kind of power that Nunes has. Nunes is going to be a real problem for people.
Most guys don't have that power.
She might not need it. The way she
she
closed that arm triangle is so professional.
Yeah.
She could take most girls down because of her wrestling,
Look at that.
and she
Beautiful.
understands. She's a finisher.
She
went
her
right
caught
to
it
it.
perfectly.
Her husband's a jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
black belt,
Yeah,
right?
really?
And, isn't he? I believe he's a jiu-jitsu instructor. She did it from the mount too.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I saw total.
Look at her. She's pumping that girl up. That's what she's doing.
Nice
She's
coach.
telling her you're gonna be all right.
I had
That's sweet.
some doubts about her early because she said some things about jiu-jitsu when she first came out in the UFC that she didn't like jiu-jitsu or she doesn't train jiu-jitsu or something like that. She was like old school wrestler type of mentality. But it looks like she finally had her mind opened. You know, that was good solid guard passing. Wrestlers just don't pass guards like that unless they train jiu-jitsu. You know, some wrestlers never learn how to pass the guard.
It kind of seems like that's a thing of the past, though, doesn't it?
No, exactly. That's why I was kind of worried because she would
Yeah.
say something like that. She would say, "No, I don't train jiu-jitsu." I go, wait a minute. It's 2017. Everybody needs to train jiu-jitsu. If you're fighting in the UFC,
Yeah, this is
you have
what
to
you have
love
to
it.
do.
You have to love it.
I never heard her
it's-
say that. Did you? What? See if you
She
can
said-
find
I
that.
don't-
When
I
did
don't
she say
remember
that? Was it like real early on?
Man, she did say something something to the effect that she doesn't like
it doesn't
jiu-jitsu.
Well, I guess being a wrestler.
Early. And it's an old school wrestller mentality. That's
Yeah.
all. No big deal.
And there's
She
a lot-
ain't the
there's
only
still wrestlers
wrestler
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's still
Yeah.
wrestlers like that. And there's been a bunch that were famous too.
Yeah.
Well, there's always a bunch of people that get super attached to their style that they started out with, and they want to prove that's
I
the
don't
best
blame
style.
I don't blame the wrestlers. Look what happened. Hoist shows up.
Yeah.
These Midwestern wrestlers are looking at this. Who's this little Mexican kid choking everybody out, beating Russ? And they're doing challenge matches and great. They're like, fuck these guys. How are they going to take me down and do that shit?
Most
You know,
most
that-
of the wrestlers that I know that are like that, they do that because they're fucking lazy. That's
You
what
think
it is.
so?
That's what it is because they're so good at wrestling, and they just. It just seems like it's a weird like lazy thing. For one, because it's extra work, and two, because you're gonna get fucking choked out, and wrestlers don't want to lose.
Right,
So
right.
it's that kind of thing where it's hard for wrestlers to progress.
I think it stems from the Gracie's coming out challenging everybody and beating wrestlers. Dan Severn gets choked out. Mark Coleman's coming in. Mark Coleman wasn't trying to pass the guard. He was trying to beat jiu-jitsu down.
Hold you down.
But,
You know what I mean?
but
Smash
it
you.
also stems from the same thing as with kickboxers.
Yeah.
Kickboxers don't want to train jiu-jitsu either. I mean, that was always the problem with certain fighters. They just didn't want to get tapped because they were
Same
so
thing.
good at standing up.
Again, that's from the UFC because you also saw the strikers getting taken down easily and getting choked out easily. So right away, a dude has been training 15 years striking is thinking, fuck these jiu-jitsu guys. Fuck them. I'm going to learn a little takedown defense and I'm going to fucking knock them out.
Well,
Fuck
that's-
learning it. I'm going to learn some takedown defense and I'm going to still knock you
That
out.
was Crow Cop.
So-
I mean, back in the day,
Yeah, there
you
was
know, Crow
several-
Cop
Didn't
just
train
learned
at
how
all.
to stand up.
Yeah, even this whole thoughts on the cage and his training in different.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, no, man, did you?
And
Isn't
then,
it
there
crazy
was,
seeing-
and then there was wrestler versus striker. That rivalry when Igor Vovchanchin fought Mark Kerr. Are you kidding me? Do you remember how that fight went down?
Yeah, Vovchanchin cracked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Kerr took him down at will and then got tired. Would never pass the guard, never tried passing the guard. Vovchanchin had a decent guard. He had a good survival guard. He had good guard recovery. And Mark Kerr admittedly never worked on passing. He just felt that he could just stay on the guard and pound someone. But you couldn't do it to Vovchanchin. Vovchanchin kept tying him up. And then late in the fight, he couldn't take him down anymore. They were both on their feet. Mark Kerr was folding, and that's when Igor Vovchanchin lit him up. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was very interesting back then. If Mark Kerr would have just spent day one, once he decided to do MMA, let me get really
Learn how
good
to
at
pass.
passing and mounting.
Okay, but in all fairness, that was the least of his problems. That guy was on a million different drugs. I mean, that documentary, The Smashing Machine, is such a crazy
Intravenously
documentary.
It didn't matter.
When
It
you
didn't
find
matter.
out what exactly he was doing, like, whoa, like that guy was fighting the toughest fighters in the world while he was shooting heroin. I mean, he was shooting like all sorts of crazy
Heroin?
pain. Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Oh, dude,
Heroin?
did you ever see The Smashing Machine? He was shooting up opiates.
He was shooting. Yeah, it was all pharmaceutical grade, painkillers that he
It
was
was
injecting.
crazy.
On top of all the steroids and stuff.
It's a crazy documentary.
Okay.
You never
I just
saw
remember
it?
this. Yes, but I just remember the steroid part. That's all.
Oh, that was nothing.
It's
the,
okay.
the
No,
part
he-
he was slamming painkillers into his fucking veins, and he was just sitting there like, and letting them film the whole thing.
Yeah,
It
and
was
we're
almost
talking like
a cry for
bottles
help.
of fucking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was described for help. But fresh bottles of whatever painkiller he was fucking taking, but injecting it straight in his arm.
They thought when
insane.
they were filming him that they were filming the baddest motherfucker on the planet Earth, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're watching this guy right as he falls apart." Like right as the filming started beginning, he was falling apart. Here it is, Tony Ferguson.
So here's the sleep.
Boom, shalak lock, boom.
What's going on?
Tony's going to be
after
very hard to
this?
take down, and if Khabib takes him down, he's got to be really worried about them chokes that we've already seen.
Yes.
So he can't just take down Tony like he did Michael Johnson and not worry about legit chokes from all sorts of
And
places.
that's the thing. It's all in the transition.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
so
fucking
interested.
Tony's
so
got great
slick.
guillotines too, and great marcellatines.
Yes.
And if he raps, he's always looking for Darces. So Khabib, he's one of the best grapplers in the UFC, no doubt. He may be the best at grounding and pounding and controlling you like a legit high level black belt.
Yeah,
he passes. Who knows how it's going to match up against Tony, man? But we're preparing everything we can. We're doing everything we can. I don't know how it's going to look when it's all said and done, but we're doing the best we can to prepare for the worst case scenario. Who knows what's going to happen? But the one thing's for sure is one mistake on the ground and Tony's going to wrap your neck up.
Yes.
But this motherfucker as well. I mean, one mistake on the ground and Habib Nurmagomedov's going to fucking break your arm. He's a freak, and that's why this is so interesting, because Tony's a freak too. And like when you see Tony fucking up Rafael Dos Anjos here, I mean, man, Tony Ferguson easily could have been the UFC lightweight champion of the world. If he caught Rafael Dos Anjos when Dos Anjos had the bell, he could have got him. And Tony, I think Tony could do that to anybody. How did he beat Barboza? Did he just choke Barboza?
Yes.
Yeah, he darced him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was it right
Hurt
there.
him standing and then
Yes,
finished him off on the ground. It was perfect.
Tony's something special. And that's why this fight is so interesting, because Khabib is obviously something special. He's the only guy that's in a contender that has been fighting the best guys in the world and is undefeated as he fights for the title. That's so unheard of.
Yeah.
Everybody's
To make
got
it that
one or
far.
two. Everybody's got early in their career, they've got a fight or two that they lost, but he's one of the very few guys that has only shown one moment in his entire career inside the octagon where he really didn't look so good. And that was a brief moment where Michael Johnson hit him. Obviously, he recovered from that and came back
after
and
that, he
smushed
him.
Smushed him. It's just when he gets guys on the ground, it's almost like he's a different weight class than them.
Yeah. There's levels, thousands of levels of being heavy. And he's super heavy. He sticks on you. He's a great
tiny,
passer.
I saw him in person this at my fight. The fight that was supposed to happen.
His passing,
he's not that big.
His passing from full guard or to like open guard right into, he forces a Z guard or a quarter Z like right away. His movement to set up the half guard that he's going to try to pass, brilliant. His knee slash is brilliant. His mount, his control, that crucifix move, man, he's a black belt.
Yes.
Everybody knows it. Very few people do it.
Yeah.
He's always looking for it, and obviously he's if you look at his earlier fights, he's got triangle chokes. I mean, he could finish you off your back too. Yeah. So that's a tall order for Tony. But believe you me, Tony is looking pretty damn good to me right now on the ground. So it's going to be crazy seeing how it all plays out.
I'm so excited for that fight.
Dude, my head's going to explode.
Yeah, it's a crazy fight. And it's going to be more crazy for you because you got so much invested in it. For me, as a guy that gets to sit there and call that fight, I'm fascinated just because when you see a guy like Tony Ferguson, he's a problem. Like, how do you solve that problem? Like, what's the solution to that problem? And I don't know what the answer to that is. I would say a guy who can keep the fight standing up and tee off on him and land good strikes. Like maybe a guy who takes advantage of the aggressive style that Nurmagomedov has. But, maybe Tony's that guy. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, as Michael Johnson showed, you can punch him. You can't hit him. You can land a good shot. You can rock him. And I think that, that's going to be the main place to catch him. But if you can catch him, keep him on the outside, you know, you don't want a guy like that who fights that way, that good at grappling, that good at wrestling and takedowns and constant pressure in your face the whole time. You got to keep him outside. You know, I think Tony's tall enough to do it. Because again, seeing how small Khabib was last weekend, I was like, man, he's not that big of a guy. You know, I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's fucking awesome. But
what do you think? What do you think he walks around at?
Big.
75, maybe.
Maybe. You know, he just didn't see. And you know how the Russians travel? They're always in groups of fucking 100.
Yeah.
So it's always entertaining. They're fucking hilarious. But he just didn't seem that big at all. I was like, wow, huh. That was the only thing that shocked me because he's so strong.
What are you saying, Jamie?
He ragdolls everybody.